Good evening, thank you all for joining us tonight. I'm Lauren and I've been asked to host tonight's event on behalf of TechFest. For anyone that's not familiar with TechFest's work, TechFest is a North East-based charity organisation with the mission to promote STEM. That's science, technology, engineering and mathematics. Many of you may be familiar with TechFest's festival, which we are currently in the middle of, but what you may not know is that TechFest also runs a huge number of diverse programmes and initiatives within schools. We are here tonight to celebrate the final of one of those programmes, the STEM Next Essay Competition. This competition was new to this year and was developed as a direct result of student and teacher feedback. We knew going into this year that many students were missing out on work experience opportunities and other activities to put on the UCAS applications, so in order to help fill this void, TechFest developed the STEM Next Essay Competition. This competition was open to 16 to 18-year-olds all over the UK and was an incredibly tough challenge that required the students to perform their own independent research and writing. The essay competition was split into 3 categories and the students could choose which category they wanted to sign up for. The categories were Medicine and Life Sciences, Energy Transition, Technology and Computer Sciences, and in each category, as part of their research, every student had to interview at least one industry professional or academic who is linked to their essay topic. So I have to say a huge thank you to all the volunteers from across the UK who signed up to be interviewed. I believe a few of you have joined us here tonight and I really hope you enjoyed being involved in this project. And just to let you know, based on the student feedback, their interviews with you were one of the biggest highlights and incredibly important part of this competition. It's so important that we are able to provide the next generation with a realistic insight into industry and academia and highlight all of the diverse and exciting opportunities available to them, but this has been something that's been so difficult to do over the past year. So our volunteers giving up their time to be part of this project has been hugely meaningful, and on behalf of everyone from TechFest we want to say a massive thank you to every single one of you for being involved in making this competition a success. I also wanted to give a special shout out to the University of Aberdeen and Robert Gordon's University for developing a fantastic series of lectures that gave the students guidance on all aspects of academic writing. I'm sure the students will agree that these lectures were absolutely fantastic and a great resource. And thank you once more for your support with the live online webinars that the students were able to take part in. I think your support definitely paid off as the quality of these essays were just absolutely fantastic. From across the UK, we had over 90 students sign up to take part in STEM Next, and I have to give props to every single one of you. After a really difficult year that you've had, the fact that you stepped up to take on this incredibly difficult challenge is so impressive, and each and every one of you should be very proud of the work that you've done. You certainly didn't make the assessors' jobs easy. We're hoping to get assessor feedback to all of you, but in general, I can tell you that they were absolutely blown away by the high standard of your essays. Many of your essays were at the standard we would expect to see at university level or even within the industry, so a massive well done to all of you. However, even though you did all make the assessors' jobs incredibly difficult, we have managed to finalise the winning students for each category. For each category, we've awarded a first, second and third place. Our third place winners will each be awarded £50 worth of Amazon vouchers, second place winners will get £100 of Amazon vouchers, and our first place grand prize winners in each category will get £200 worth of Amazon vouchers. And in addition to this, the TechFest team are working to get these essays published so the winning students' hard work will get the recognition they deserve. And in just a little while, we will have the opportunity to speak with all of our STEM Next finalists. However, tonight is really about celebrating the hard work of all the students who took part after the year that you've had. Just submitting an essay was a phenomenal achievement. And even for those who hadn't made the finals, I hope you're able to take away lots of positivity from this experience. We thought having the STEM Next final as part of Scottish Careers Week was the perfect fit, as hopefully this competition has provided you with some insight into the type of career you may want to pursue. And of course, none of this would have been possible if it wasn't for our fantastic sponsors. This project was fortunate to benefit from having both Worley and TechnipFMC as category sponsors and Exodus, who came on board as the principal sponsor for STEM Next. And to help me announce the first set of awards, I've actually been joined tonight by the Regional Director of Exodus. It's Andrew Worley. Thank you for joining us tonight, Andrew.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Yeah, it's great to have you here and on board and things like that. So, first of all then, tell us why it's so important for Exodus to get involved with projects that specifically target young people in school and in college.
Look, it's very important to be looking after young people at school and college because it's the heart and soul. It brings us energy, and within Exodus we really look for that extra energy, a bit of diverse mix. That's really important, that we can tap into some other people, and that's the young people. And the young people will bring us the energy for the future, and that's very key for us. So we want to be involved because we need to have the next generation coming through for our company and for the wider industry as well.
Plus, they're very creative, aren't they? Very creative people.
Yes, and a new way of working. We're learning all the time from young people. So please bring it on. We want to learn from them.
More young people.
Yes,
brilliant.
Please.
So aside from STEM Next, then, what other STEM activities has Exodus been a part of?
So, well, we've got our own STEM ambassadors. We appointed, our own people said we want to get involved in STEM. Can we spend some of our own time to get involved in local schools and local activities? So we were involved in some of the games at Offshore Europe recently and Subsea UK conference as well, where we got some of the local schools together to work in a few games just to introduce them to some science, technology, engineering, mathematics problems, and just to really introduce them to the industry as well. We felt that was the best way to get engaged at that stage, at its prime, to get engaged at a teenage level and take them through and coach them through to the working. So it's really important for us that our own STEM ambassadors are looking after the future.
I think I like how you incorporate games and things into it, because that makes it fun, doesn't it? Even for me, and I'm an adult.
Yep, fun's important. Fun helps you remember, and that's all part of the learning.
Brilliant, fantastic. So what is it about TechFest's STEM Next then that made you want to come on board as a principal sponsor?
Well, again, about the energy transition for our industry is so important. It's like our space race, if you like. At the end of the decade, we want to achieve this, that and the next thing. And it is a great time. It's quite an exciting time to join our industry because there are so many things that we need to resolve. We have to get involved in so many other things other than just the traditional conventional ways of doing oil and gas developments. But there's a whole new approach and energy transition. And we quite like the fact that energy transition was one of the topics. We also like the fact that it is about science, technology, engineering, mathematics. The fundamental parts of Exodus are about engineering. So it's really key that we engage with youngsters and help them along on their journey to be part of our journey too.
Well, thank you so much, because we couldn't do this without you, of course, being our sponsor. So on behalf of TechFest, thank you for stepping up as the principal sponsor for this project. And while I've got you here, I was wondering whether you might be able to help me sort of announce the winners of our first category of the night, and that is the Medicine and Life Sciences category.
Very good, yes, please.
Yeah, let's do it. So this was a very competitive category with some really difficult competition. The standard of these essays was just incredibly high, so a huge well done to you, but we do have our finalists.
In third place, we have Judy Tang from Monmouth School for Girls. Well done, Judy.
And I believe we have Jodie with us here tonight. Congratulations, Jodie. You have won third place. How do you feel?
Thank you for awarding me third place. I'm really excited that my essay got recognition.
You're very welcome, and you absolutely deserve the recognition, as we all loved your essay that was looking into advancements in genomics. You'd clearly put in a huge amount of research, and your interest in the topic was really evident. Is this a field you're looking to pursue in the future then?
Yes, so for my undergraduate degree, I am applying for biochemistry. So I'm hoping, so for my thesis in third year, I would hopefully do more research in this field.
Wonderful, and I'm glad that taking part in STEM Next gave you a chance to dive into this topic that you're clearly passionate about. Although I know that this type of independent research can be really difficult, especially with such a technical topic. So how are you able to overcome this challenge? Was it helpful being able to interview someone who works in the field?
So of course, speaking of the person I interviewed was a really good part. Like I feel like that really added to my essay. But also, I was really lucky to have a really good library resource when I was researching my essay. So a lot of the books that I could find in my local library was a great addition as well.
Oh, that's amazing. And I love the shout out for supporting local libraries as well. They're such a fantastic resource. So I encourage everyone watching at home to get involved with their local library as well. Jodie, congratulations again on doing such a fantastic job. Looking back then, what do you think has been your highlight of taking part in STEM Next?
I would say I did not expect that I could have produced such like an essay like this at the start. I just looking at myself like progress throughout the weeks. I think that was the highlight.
That's fantastic to hear, and I hope going forward that you're able to keep in mind how talented you are. And one last question before I leave you to celebrate tonight's win. What advice would you have for future students who want to take on the challenge of STEM Next?
Okay, so really plan your term wisely. Don't get too stuck on one specific detail, because I did that with trying to understand how DNA is sequenced. I got really stuck into the details, really trying to research different parts. Really just plan before you start writing an essay. That's my advice.
I think that's really good advice. Well done again on such a fantastic achievement, and enjoy your celebrations tonight. That was amazing to speak with Jodie in Wales through the magic of technology, and that brings us on to our next winner.
In second place, we have Jasmine Kieran Imadu from Robert Gordon's College. Well done, Jasmine.
Hopefully we should have Jasmine here with us. So congratulations, Jasmine. You've won second place. How do you feel?
Just overjoyed because I didn't think I would get a place that good. That's like insane. I'm just so grateful to be able to compete in a competition like this, because I feel like regardless of it being a competition, I got to learn so many new things from my research, which was so cool. So I'm just grateful for the opportunity in the first place. So thank you very much to everyone at TechFest decided to run the competition this year.
You are very welcome, and we're so glad that you took part, because your essay stood out for all the right reasons. And one of the things that all of the assessors commented on was your use of illustrations within your essay to help describe the quite complex process that you were writing about. So what inspired you to make such a creative choice?
Well, for my illustrations, I just finished my National Fives, so I started my hires this year, and I did National 5 Biology, and a lot of the time with my revision, what would help me to revise and remember different processes was to draw out illustrations of the topics I was learning. So when I realized that a lot of the things I was researching overlapped with things I had learned during my time learning Nat 5 Biology, I was like, perhaps I could make my figures to be illustrations in the same way that I use for my revision for my exams. So that's why I decided to, for example, draw a picture of memory cell remembering pathogens and then making an antibody to catch those pathogens.
I think that's so clever, and while it wasn't necessarily the most scientific figure, it did demonstrate that you had a really deep understanding of the topic you were writing about, and you found a way to make it very accessible, which is really the core of science communication. So well done you for that. And one of the other aspects of your essay that we really loved was how well you incorporated the information you had gathered during your interview. So I did want to ask you, how did you find the interview process?
The interview process was really, really interesting. For me, how I decided to do it was to leave it rather late into my essay, because I wanted to do an interview where from all the information I'd collated, I'd be able to know enough information on like a foundational level to be able to ask who I'm interviewing some rather deep questions. I decided to interview a microbiologist at University of Aberdeen called Dalma Childers. And a lot of the questions I was asking about was more of her predictions and her hopes for vaccine development, because as much as I had found out about what is going on right now in vaccine development, coming from someone who is working in that field, from what she sees every single day to find out what she feels is going to be up and coming in vaccine development. I thought that'd be quite interesting. For example, about her hoping that we could integrate vaccination into the food that we eat, so that it's not just having to go to the doctor's office and take a jab, but instead you could actually eat your vaccine and it would become just a normal thing to have a vaccine in different forms, which is quite interesting as well. I had a really, really fun time doing the interview because she taught me so many new things. For example, a part that I was going to integrate with my essay was HIV, but because of the word count, I wasn't able to put that in. But she told me about how there's this gene where some people have it, and it means that they can't get HIV. And I had no idea about that. So I was able to go in a deep dive afterwards to find out more about that, which was really interesting. So I feel like having to do an interview for the essay was an incredibly good prerequisite because it really deepens your knowledge and it really challenges what you think you do know.
That is fantastic, and I love that taking part in this competition has inspired you to go even further with your research and keep learning, keep asking questions. At the end of the day, that is what projects like this are all about, so I know the team at TechFest will be delighted to hear how much you've gotten from this experience.
So interesting as well because in primary school, so many years I went to TechFest's big festivals where they would host in the Gordon Barracks, these huge tents, and you would get to go and watch people do experiments and talk about science. And it's so interesting because TechFest was the reason why I fell in love with science in primary school and knew that I wanted to pursue something to do with science in secondary school. So I'm honestly eternally grateful to TechFest for getting me into science in the first place and making me feel that you don't have to be super smart or fancy or technical to be able to do science. Anyone can access science if you want to.
I love that, and I know that the TechFest team will be delighted to hear it as well. TechFest is such a staple here in the Northeast, and it's just fantastic. So congratulations again, Jasmine, and enjoy your night.
You too. Thank you for talking to me tonight.
Oh, it's just absolutely brilliant to get the opportunity to chat with Jasmine tonight. So now that takes us on to our first place winners.
Okay, so in first place for the Medicine and Life Sciences category of STEM Next, we have Navar Nuseba from Liverpool College.
Congratulations, Navar.
Well, I did not expect that. So I didn't even expect to place in the finals, let alone be first. I'm really surprised.
Well, everyone agreed that your essay was really fantastic and you should be really proud of what you've accomplished. I think we are having a little bit of difficulties with your connection, but you are still here, so we're going to keep on going and hope we don't lose you throughout this. But I just wanted to say we loved your essay that was looking into the application of CRISPR gene editing technology as a potential treatment for cancer. So what made you choose this topic?
So last year, when I was doing my EPQ, I was researching topics I wanted to do as a head start to my future aspirations as a cancer researcher. And when I was going through these different possible treatments for cancer, cancer and its treatments and the cures and everything, I came across CRISPR and I was like, whoa, this is a very interesting topic to do. But then it was such a broad topic that I really struggled to narrow it down. And I was like, okay, I could split it up into 6 different topics and then do each of them and then see which one fits me the best. And when I was doing the initial research, my head just kept going back on how CRISPR could be a potential cure for cancer. And at the end, I was like, this is probably the right topic for me to do because this is the career path I want to go into. I want to become a geneticist and I want to do cancer research. So I think CRISPR as a gene editing tool and cancer as the whole field would be the perfect mix. And that's how I chose my topic.
I think that was such a smart decision to choose a topic that you were already interested in, and the amount of research you had to put into it really came across through the amount of detail you included in your essay. So a massive well done. Our connection with you is still a little bit wobbly, but before we lose you, I just wanted to ask, what was your highlight of STEM Next?
It would definitely be the research aspect of it because when I went into doing this topic, I didn't really have a certain goal, I suppose you could say. I just wanted to explore CRISPR as a gene editing tool. But then the more I went in depth and like researched more and more about it, I just found it even more intriguing, and it was really like eye-opening for me because, as I said before, I really do want to do cancer research as my future career. And this just solidified for me. I was like, yes, this is the career path I want to go into. This is the thing that I am most passionate about.
Amazing, and I'm absolutely glad that through this competition you were able to solidify that this type of research is the path that you want to pursue. Do you know what your next steps are then?
I'm planning on taking a gap year because I'm in year 13 now. I'm planning on taking a gap year next year and do some work experience, maybe go to some university and do some work experience specific to cancer research or genetic research. And then the year after that, I'm planning on going to uni. And the whole, my career path, I would suppose, ends. It doesn't end because I do want to stay into academic research. So I would just be learning for like however long I decide to do research.
Well, best of luck with everything you do. I'm sure you're going to be absolutely amazing. And I'm sorry your connection with you tonight has been a little bit ropey, but do you know what? We're all used to it. But it really was lovely to chat with you, and congratulations again on first place, and enjoy your celebrations tonight.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I would really like to thank TechFest for this opportunity because it really helped me choose a career path. It really helped me choose a topic that it really helped me find a topic that I'm really passionate about. So really, really big thanks to TechFest.
Okay, Andrew, I think it's obvious to see just how amazing this opportunity has been for the students.
Absolutely, and thank you to all the organisers. Without you, this just wouldn't have happened, and we really, really need this to happen for the future. It's so key. It really is important.
Well, we just want to say a massive thank you for being our sponsor, because of course this wouldn't have happened without you. So thank you so much.
Not a problem. It's really great. Thank you.
And joining me to help hand out some awards, we have the lovely Fraser from Worley. How are you?
Good, how are you, Lauren?
Yeah, good. Great to have you here.
Thank you very much, thank you.
So, need to ask then, what inspired Worley to take part in the brand new initiative like STEM Next, and why did you decide to sponsor us?
So it's very important for us at Worley to look after the next generation of engineers. We're about to go through a major paradigm shift away from hydrocarbons into new energy like hydrogen, solar, and we need the help with the younger generation. So Worley supporting TechFest today is really important to us, and we look forward to see what they've come up with. So yeah.
Well, they've been brilliant. So
it's been excellent. Yeah,
it's been amazing. Yeah. So energy transition is such an important topic at the moment. It's brilliant to see young people, as you were saying, being so passionate about it. So it definitely gives me a lot of hope. There's a lot of engineers of tomorrow in here tonight. Well, watching tonight and things. So while I've got you here, would you be able to help announce some of the winners?
Certainly, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. So in third place we have Boris Stone from George Heriot School. Congratulations, Boris.
Hopefully we've got Boris on the line then. Congratulations, Boris. How do you feel?
I feel great. I mean, I wasn't really expecting to get this third place because, I don't really back myself in writing. I'm more of a maths guy, but I'm just delighted with it.
Well, we are absolutely delighted for you, and we loved your essay on electric power generation and consumption. I was wondering though, what inspired you to choose this essay topic?
I actually was inspired by this one book. It was written by David Mackay, and it's called Sustainable Energy Without the Hot Air. And he pretty much goes through all the different types of renewable energies and how they could theoretically, fuel our country. So that's what motivated me. Besides that, I think I've always been interested in climate change and energy, and I just wanted to kind of research it and make my own project on it.
Yeah, that was one of the things that we absolutely loved about your essay. It was really obvious how well you researched it, and your interest in the topic, it really shone through. So is the energy sector an area that you're hoping to have a career in, or pursue further education in?
Yeah, so it definitely is something I'm interested in. I actually just recently submitted my UCAS application, and I've applied for engineering at Oxford and then mechanical engineering at 4 other universities. So yeah, it's definitely something I'd do in the future. I'm not sure what I would do, but I know I want to go into that sort of sector.
Oh, well, good luck with your UCAS applications. I'll keep my fingers crossed that you get your top choice for university, but I'm sure wherever you're going to end up, you'll go on to do amazing things, Boris. One last question before I let you get on with celebrating tonight's win then. What would you say was your overall highlight of STEM Next?
Well, I would say the interview for one was just something that obviously you don't want to do at the start, but it's really good after you've done it because you get this insight into real life engineering. The independent research also, I think that's quite, like, there's something rewarding about that because you get to see what the current state of things are, even though you might not be experiencing it firsthand. Also, yeah, using like the actual process of writing an essay, I quite liked. I'm not sure if it's similar to what you would do at university, but I think getting familiar with referencing software and all the like citations and stuff like that, I think it's definitely going to make things easier later in life.
Oh, absolutely. And this project was designed in order to help you develop the sort of research and essay writing skills that you're going to need at university or college or whatever you do next. So I'm really pleased that you were able to benefit from that. Thank you once again for your time tonight. Boris, well done again on such a fantastic essay. It's so nice to get the opportunity to chat with all of these really inspirational people. I'm getting emotional and just find out more about their future plans. And that takes us on to our second place winner.
So in second place we have Emma Vine from Dunfermline School. Congratulations, Emma.
Well done, Emma. You are our second place winner.
I mean, I didn't expect that. I just kind of did it for sort of to improve like what I already had for like my personal statement and things, and just finding out more about like energy transition because it's what I wanted to do in the future.
I just love how taken aback you are, but we all really enjoyed your essay on the future of electric power and have to commend you on how informative and well written your essay is. It's just amazing. You had obviously done a lot of research on it, so I was wondering, during the course of your research, was there anything that ended up surprising you?
I think the most surprising part was when I interviewed one of the people I was interviewing, and we were talking about because my essay I was completely focused on what types of power we could use and not the drawbacks of them for the main part. Like when I was researching future things, I was trying to make them seem completely idealistic, whereas I was talking to her about it, and I realized a lot of things like solar panels, for example, like they definitely are part of the future, but there's things about them that you wouldn't even consider a downfall until you actually realize it's a thing, like the carbon, like from where they're being manufactured to getting them onto your roof, like there's already a massive offset from them being a really good source of energy. So just finding out all these different disadvantages to energies that we had that I didn't even think I could find out, and being able to think of a solution for them really is what I want. It kind of just inspired me, I guess.
That is such a good point, actually. And I know that one of the things that the assessors really enjoyed about your essay was that you had a very balanced view, and you did consider both the advantages and the disadvantages of each energy source you looked into, so I think that was really well done. You briefly mentioned your interview with an industry professional there, so how did you find the whole interview process? Was it something that was quite nerve-wracking or something that you were quite comfortable with? And ultimately, did you find it helpful?
It was quite... as an awkward person in general, it was quite a difficult experience because to me, having to reach out to someone is utterly terrifying. But I was just like, oh, I'll just email them and see. If something comes out of it, then something comes out of it. If nothing does, then it doesn't. And it just I emailed then it was literally, I think it was like the day after I emailed them, I got a response, and they were willing to do an interview, and it was quite nerve-wracking because it was like all this, like I had the few days to build up before actually calling them and having like a chat with them, and then it was I remember it being a few minutes before, and I was like, am I sure this is actually what I'm about to do? Because it's quite, to me, it was very nerve-wracking. But as soon as the call started and they knew who I was and I knew who they were, it was completely normal, which really surprised me, because I was able to talk completely comfortably and realize things I wasn't ever going to find out by myself.
Thank you so much for sharing that experience with us. It can be really nerve-wracking reaching out to someone you don't know, particularly if it's something you're not naturally comfortable with. So for that alone, well done for going for it anyway. So afterwards then, were you glad you'd done it?
Yes, because it really did make me think more about things that I didn't even think were problems, or things that are actually going to be a part of the future.
That's great. I'm really pleased that you got a lot from it. And something that's great about this experience is that you can keep in touch with the contacts that you've made, because you never know when having the network might actually come in handy for you down the line. So I do take my hat off to you for pushing yourself outside your comfort zone. And I'm so pleased that it ended up working out so well. So well done.
Thank you. I was just still, it's just, it feels like when I've been doing the essay, like it really did help me realize what I actually was interested in, and because I am quite an anxious person, and being able to do something like that, it really helped me realize that the world, there's not so many scary things, and it's not as scary as I thought it would be. So
yeah, I totally get it. And I think hearing about your experience will really help encourage other students who might have a similar reservation. I actually think knowing that you were so nervous to interview someone, but you did it anyway and got a great result from it, it will help inspire future students that take part in STEM Next. So do you have any other advice for future students taking part in STEM Next?
Go for it. Just absolutely, if you're thinking of doing it, go for it. Even if you don't have the time to do all of it, I would to me, I thought I wouldn't have enough time to do my essay at all, because I had started it but I hadn't really had much of a chance to finish it. But the most important part is to get to interview people, because once you've got that interview, you have a really big jumping off point to continue or finish or start your essay. And it really did help. It really does help you with what you want to do in the future, and it makes you open up doors you think never existed before.
Fantastic advice. Lovely to speak with you tonight. Emma, well done again on such a fantastic essay. That was the lovely Emma Vine from Dunfermline High School in second place, which means we just have the first place winner left to announce for the energy transition category.
And in first place, we have Angus Ivory from George Heriot School. Many congratulations.
Hi Angus, congratulations on winning first place. How are you feeling?
I'm really pleased, yeah. I think that's amazing. I didn't expect to come first or placed in competition, but I really enjoyed it. And so to know that I'm first I'm really happy, yeah.
Well, I can tell you that all of the assessors really loved your essay on the renewable energy quest. It was incredibly well written, well researched, and one element that was particularly strong was your conclusion, where you were able to really effectively pull together all the threads of your argument. It seems like this is a topic that you're really passionate about. So was the energy transition something you were already interested in?
Yeah, so I think definitely I'd say kind of how we're going to convert from fossil fuels to renewable energy is both kind of a vital area for exploration, but also something I find really interesting. So as well as the policy side, there's an amazing amount of engineering that goes into the technologies for electricity generation, hydrogen cells, batteries and everything. And so I think I find that engineering side really interesting. So when I saw that this competition was on offer, I thought it would be a really good chance to kind of explore that further.
All right, so is that engineering side of things something you're hoping to pursue further on in your future?
Yes, so I've applied for university this year to study engineering, hopefully either specialising in renewable energy engineering or in aerospace, kind of with a view to to be developing electric or hydrogen powered planes, something that I think is really cool and also, again, really necessary for the future economy.
Oh, that sounds really exciting. Very best of luck with your university applications. I can't wait to hear what you end up doing, and I'm really glad that taking part in STEM Next was able to give you a little bit more insight into the industry. Although I did want to ask, from your point of view, what aspect of STEM Next did you enjoy the most?
I think probably having a stimulus for then going and researching renewable energy technology. Like, it's such an interesting and exciting area with all the kind of policy, but especially the engineering technology behind it, and then being able to form my own conclusions from this. So for me, it was on which technologies have which benefits, whether it's possible to be entirely reliant on them, because that whole picture isn't really something I considered before. So the essay gave me a chance to kind of do this in more detail.
I'm so glad you enjoyed that period of independent research, and that is something that came across really strongly in your essay. Through your research, was there anything that ended up surprising you?
I think probably the role that hydrogen is likely to play in a renewable future society, given it's not actually an energy source, but an energy carrier. So it's not the original source of the energy like fossil fuels are, but it can be formed most sustainably from electrolysis, and then it can be used to store energy both as fuel or in hydrogen cells. And so I found that interesting and surprising, learning about just how many kind of applications, both for storage and for transport, is going to be used in the future.
Yeah, that surprised me as well, actually, but I loved learning about it in your essay. So one last question then before we let you go and celebrate. What advice do you have for future students taking on the STEM Next Challenge?
Yeah, just choose a topic and a question that you're really interested in. Then you'll enjoy 100% of your research, and you'll have an essay afterwards that's something valuable you can look back on. Or indeed, for university applications, you can use it to show what really interests you. Also, don't be worried by the high word count. Just split the question into small parts to research, and then research those before putting them back together.
That is some excellent advice there. I like that. Congratulations again on a fantastic achievement, and enjoy the rest of your night.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thank you for hosting the essay competition.
You're very welcome. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with all of tonight's finalists. And once again, thank you to you, Fraser, for joining me. And thank you for being our sponsor.
Thanks very much, Lauren. Really enjoyed it. And on behalf of Worley, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.
And that brings us on to our last essay category of the night. This is the Technology and Computer Sciences category. Out of all the essays, these were some of the toughest to judge. Across the board, all of the essays were of an extremely high standard. But in the technology category, because the essays covered such a varied range of topics, it was really difficult to select our top 3, especially when they were all so well done, so well done. However, after much discussion between the assessors, we do have our finalists. And here to help me hand out those awards, we have Bruce from TechnipFMC, who has kindly sponsored this category.
Thank you for the warm welcome, Lauren.
Yeah, thank you for being here tonight. And can you tell us why then TechnipFMC was keen to get involved with STEM Next?
As a leading technology provider to the traditional energy industry and the new energies industry, TechnipFMC have a long and varied history of supporting and encouraging young and future engineers within the industry. Fresh ideas are crucial to meeting the challenges that face our industry. So anything we can do to support and encourage the next generation who may be considering a career within science, technology, engineering or maths is fully aligned with our core values, and we feel it's really important. Yeah,
absolutely. It's amazing actually to hear all that, and I've heard actually through the grapevine that this isn't the first time TechnipFMC has sponsored a TechFest project. So what is it about TechFest that makes you want to keep collaborating with us?
Great question, Lauren. TechnipFMC recognises that the mission of TechFest to kind of encourage and support STEM throughout Scotland is just critically important to engage the potential young engineers who will one day contribute to the sustainable future of the energy industry.
Yeah, and absolutely, it's amazing. It's fantastic to hear about all the initiatives that you supported, and while you're here, it would be great to get you to help us announce the winning students for this category. What do you think?
That would be great.
A massive well done to everyone that took part. And in third place, we have Jack Chambers from Robert Gordon's College. Well done, Jack.
Jack.
That's wonderful. Thanks very much.
So, huge congratulations on your fantastic essay. And I have to ask, during such a busy year for you, what initially made you want to sign up to TechFest's STEM Next essay competition?
I think it was just a really great opportunity to do a little bit of research about a topic that really interested me. And I think that going through the process of writing an essay, gathering the evidence, and then collating that all together, then trying to structure an essay with a coherent argument is really great preparation for papers that I might write in later life. And just in general, I thought it was an extremely interesting thing to do and well worth my time.
That is fantastic. And Jack, you've kind of touched on this already, but for you, what do you think were the main benefits of taking part in STEM Next?
Well, I think that I researched an area that I hadn't really thought of too much before. And so obviously it really helped me gain a far more nuanced and deep understanding of quantum computers, which is what I wrote my essay about. And I think that also the time management skills and being able to stay really disciplined and make sure that I actually got it finished on time was also really important. And that's a great skill to take into later life as well.
That's a really good point, actually, because the skills like time management are just as important to work on as the technical side of things. And the fact that you're already able to project manage yourself so effectively on an independent project like this is just huge. And I have to tell you, we all loved your essay on the applications of quantum computing. And I particularly love the title of Schrodinger's computer. How long did it take you to decide on this topic and that actual specific title?
Initially, I wasn't thinking of writing about quantum computers at all. I was more thinking of writing about computational complexity, which is basically how the time to solve a given problem scales with the input that you put into a computer. And when I was researching this initially, I started to come across complexity classes that I hadn't heard of before, and they were relating to quantum computers. And I found this quite surprising, because I just generally thought of quantum computers as just really powerful supercomputers. But obviously this suggested that that wasn't the case. And so when I started researching this, I found this huge field of research devoted to quantum computers. And I found it just so fascinating that they can have so many varied applications that are of really great importance. And I found that actually provided so much substance that I really wanted to write an essay about that. With respect to the title, I didn't really think about it too much. I think it just kind of came to me as I was writing the essay, and I was like, oh, that would be a great title.
That honestly was a really great title. It really caught my eye, and then your essay itself was just absolutely fantastic and a really interesting read. Okay, so my last question before I leave you to celebrate tonight's win, it's just to ask, what are the next steps for you? And do you have any plans for the future?
Well, for the future, so I'm in S6 at the moment, and I was thinking of going to study maths at university, because that's always something that's really interested me. And even with my essay with quantum computers, there's so much maths that underpins that in particular, and also the whole of the body of science that our world relies on so much. And it's always been a subject that really fascinates me, and I look forward to pursuing that at a higher level. But after that, who knows? I think we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
That sounds like a fantastic plan, and part of the joy of university is trying out new things, discovering new opportunities, so you've definitely got time and possibility on your side to figure out where you want to go from there. It was a pleasure to chat with you, Jack, and best of luck with your studies in the future. Lovely to speak with Jack tonight, and I think we'll go straight on to our second place winner.
In second place, we have Paul Vandenbuckel from Inverurie Academy. Congratulations, Paul.
Congratulations, Paul.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's nice to know. It took a lot of time, and it was quite hard work, so I'm glad that it's paid off. That's nice. Yeah.
Well, I am absolutely delighted that all the hard work has paid off for you. And I have to ask, what was it that initially made you want to sign up for STEM Next?
I think a big part of it was I knew it would be good to show when I'm applying for uni, it'd be good to show my interest. So a good way of doing that was to enter this competition. And also, the topic that I wrote about is a passion of mine. I really enjoy the sport that I wrote about and also the physics behind it. So it was a good way to show my passion for any courses that I apply for, and also just to delve a bit deeper into Formula One and into physics, really.
Yeah, I think that's a really smart decision to take a topic you're already interested in and find a way to make it fit the challenge at hand, to be honest. And something else, actually, I thought that it was really clever when you included an experiment as part of your research. So what made you decide to take that extra step?
I think it was good because if I didn't do the experiment, I think it would have just been, the whole essay would have been research and theory, and that's good, but it's also not really my work. So with the experiment, that's all from me. That's something I've done, and it's cool to see that my results are correct, because when I'm comparing them with other people's results and they've done similar experiments. So I think it adds that little more depth to the essay. I think it shows I've just gone that extra mile, and it just adds to the essay. I think it wouldn't have really been the same without that experiment, because it allowed me to sort of cover lots of different areas.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it was a really good way of making your essay stand out. So well done for that. That was good thinking. And overall, what do you think was your biggest highlight from STEM Next?
I think the first thing was, because I really enjoyed the sport, it was nice to fully understand the physics behind it. Because at first I didn't really get it, but after I finalized the project, I now really understand how these things work. So when I'm watching the races, I can say, that's why they're doing that. That's how it works. And also, of course, because this is really, really helpful with my submissions for uni, and that's like a highlight in my personal statements.
Oh, amazing. And you mentioned that you're hoping to go to university next. Is it physics or engineering that you're going to apply for?
Bit of both. The main course I want to do is aerospace engineering, which is very, very similar to the project I've done. So aerospace, physics, aerodynamics, that stuff. So yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Oh, amazing. Well, best of luck with your applications. You're clearly very talented with physics and engineering and aerospace engineering. Sounds amazing. So I can't wait to see what you end up doing, and good luck. That was Paul there from Inverurie Academy taking second place for his essay, and that now leaves us with the last finalist for the night, the first place winner of the Technology and Computer Sciences category.
In first place, we have Henry Jaspers from Robert Gordon's College. Congratulations, Henry.
Congratulations, Henry!
Oh, thank you very much. That's really kind of you. So I'm just a bit flattered. Thank you.
You're very welcome. We all loved your essay on cryptanalysis and cryptography. What inspired you then to choose this topic?
I guess I just found codes really interesting from quite a young age. I know a lot of children have this interest in writing hidden messages and giving it to the people to try and decode. But it kind of went a bit deeper than that later, when I discovered that there's a lot of maths behind it that really is actually really interesting and really elegant and really kind of slick. And I also realized there's a long history to these kind of codes that I hadn't really dug into until I'd really checked out all of this in my essay. Whenever we have the need to hide something from someone else, we'd start to use codes. And we've started using really simple ciphers from the dawn of time to really quite complex mathematical methods at the moment. And as we've gotten better at breaking them, we've had to get better at making them, and vice versa. So really, it's been probably a cat and mouse game since the dawn of time.
I absolutely love that. And what I really loved about your essay is that you managed to balance quite complex mathematics with human interest and really tell a story in a way that made the topic you were writing about very accessible.
frustrating that people always see mathematics as quite a cold and impenetrable surface to something, or it's often like something that people don't see as accessible. When I see that all these like historical cases of some quite fascinating uses of codes in history have really like proven the exact opposite, then in fact this kind of mathematics changes our life.
Absolutely. I think that passion really came across in your writing, so well done for that. But I was curious about what aspect of STEM Next that you found the most challenging.
The most challenging, I thought the thing I found most challenging was probably the time commitment, because I'm very, very misorganized. So I found it was really a step in the right direction for me to be able to organize my time in a way that I normally wouldn't be able to. And I found that difficult, but I think I got better at it. And I think being able to be part of STEM Next has really allowed me to develop that. It's absolutely invaluable.
Oh, good. I'm so glad you were able to get that benefit through this competition. And on the flip side, what did you enjoy the most about STEM Next?
I really enjoyed getting to contact some really interesting people in the fields and to hear their experiences of what they've been doing for the past 40 years in the subjects. I think I forgot how modern the field I was writing about is. And so these kind of people were actually working on the fields at the vanguard when it was kicking off to begin with in the 70s and 80s. And it also gave me a really good kind of an excuse to dig deeper into a field where I didn't have much more than a surface kind of level of knowledge. And also to realize the maths I've been working on for quite some time had a really like fascinating historical use beyond just the abstract that we're always taught, that the fact that mathematics has a use and moreover it can change history.
I completely agree, and it's a wonderful example of demonstrating some of the real life applications of the maths you learn in the classroom. And just before we let you go then, to celebrate your win tonight, I had one more question for you. What advice do you have for students that take on the STEM Next challenge in the future?
I think my main piece of advice would just be to manage your time well and to keep quite regimented. And I think another thing that's really important is to dig deep before you start writing, so you can kind of get like the lay of the land. Because I often found that there are certain areas that I hadn't considered really, and then I looked into them and thought I've got to include this in this essay. Like my essay will absolutely be terrible if I don't mention that. And if you keep having enough of those epiphanies, you just get a full essay eventually. Like just do your research. I find it's the best part. Yeah.
Yeah, that is some fantastic advice there, Henry. Well done again. You should be so proud of what you've accomplished, and I'm sure you are. Well done.
Thank you very much. Great to be interviewed by you. Thank you so much.
That was Henry there, and that takes us to the last of our STEM Next winners. They are so inspirational, I think you'll agree, and I'm so glad we got the opportunity to speak with them. And thank you so much to Bruce from TechnipFMC for joining us and helping announce the winners. Thank you.
No, it's been an absolute pleasure, Lauren, and it's fantastic to have been part of such a wonderful event, and congratulations to all the finalists who did such a great job.
Yes, well done. So that is all our STEM Next winners announced, and once more I just wanted to say a huge well done to all of our finalists and every student actually that took part and made the assessor's job so difficult. And for the students whose essays didn't quite make the finals, please know that your essays were still amazing and it was a real privilege to read your work. Through STEM Next, TechFest has had the good fortune to work with many of the STEM Next students on other projects that have massively benefited from their passion and insight. One in particular that the STEM Next students have been instrumental in is TechFest Talks. This is a podcast series by students for students. TechFest has been incredibly lucky to work with many of the STEM Next students who have stepped in to host this podcast series, so I'm very impressed. So it turns out not only are these students fantastic researchers and writers, but they are also incredible podcast hosts. The first series of the TechFest Talks podcast was all about diabetes as part of the 100-year celebration of the discovery of insulin. We're going to now talk to a couple of our student podcast hosts to find out just a little bit more about their experiences. Hi ladies, thank you so much for joining us tonight. For the people at home, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Holly Stewart. I'm in 6th year pupil at Portlethen Academy in Aberdeenshire.
Hi everyone, I'm Arushi Rastogi and I go to Cults Academy in Aberdeen. Hello everyone, I'm Raghavit Bhaktini, and contrasting, I go to school in England, Liverpool College.
It's wonderful to meet you all. I was wondering if you could tell me what made you want to get involved in TechFest Talks as one of the podcast hosts.
Personally, I'm very interested in human biology. I'd like to apply for pharmacy at university. So illnesses and how they can be treated has always really interested me throughout school. So being given that opportunity to learn more about the specific impact of diabetes on those living with a condition and the treatment really interested me. So being given that opportunity made me want to take part.
So I was originally involved with the STEM Next essay, and through that I found out about the podcast run by TechFest, and I thought that this would be a great opportunity for me to communicate with industry professionals and talk about their technical work with them. And furthermore, I thought it would help me improve my communication skills, as a podcast was a different medium of communication for me.
In my case, I was a podcaster so I had my own podcast, and then I was also a medical applicant. So combining both of them, I could do the podcast and I can learn about diabetes as well. So I felt like this was a perfect fit for me, and yeah, that's the reason I did these podcasts. I couldn't see a reason not to.
Oh, wow. Raga, that's so cool that you already have your own podcast. So where can people find out about it if they want to go and check it out?
So my podcast is mostly about universities because I don't have anything else in my life to talk about. It's on Spotify and it's called Raga Talks. It starts with my name. Yeah, that's my podcast. It's mostly about education and then university decisions and stuff like that.
Oh, that is amazing, and I encourage everyone listening at home to go and check it out, and I know I will. It must have actually been really fantastic for TechFest to have your podcast expertise as part of the team as well. So for Holly and Arushi, was hosting a podcast something you had experience in already, or was this a brand new experience to you?
This was completely new to me. I'd never done anything like this before, but I really enjoyed the experience.
Yeah, same here. I had absolutely no experience in running podcasts, and I didn't expect myself to do one either. And I actually found the communication without the video and just my voice a bit tricky at first, but at the end of it, I felt like a professional and it was very fun.
Good for you for not being afraid to give something new a go. I like that. So would you say that you've always been interested in science communication, or is this something that's very much just fallen into your lap and you've just gone for it then?
Personally, like it was an opportunity that was given to me, and because of the involvement of science and specifically biology, that's kind of why I wanted to take part.
So as a science student, I'm very big on science and communicating science to others to share knowledge and make sure that everyone can understand it in an accessible way, so everyone can enjoy science alongside me. And I have written a few articles before, so it's not the first time I've been involved in science communication, but it's definitely the first time I've used my voice to talk about it.
As a STEM student, I think I was always involved in science, but not in the form of like actually talking off school, like off the specification of my school. So I think it was quite new to me, though the fact that I did interview people before, but that was just basically on their kind of what they did in uni and not about science that I knew. But I feel like it was so good because it was obviously an opportunity to discover more about the things that you liked, but you wouldn't actually get a chance to do it unless, I mean, why would I get a chance to talk to like professionals from the field if I was at school? So I think it was really, really nice for me to do that.
That is fantastic. And that really leads me into the next question then. How did you find the experience of hosting the TechFest Talks podcast? Do you have any highlights in particular?
I found the experience very insightful personally. Not only was the topic of discussion of great interest to me personally, but the experience also really improved my confidence skills, and because it was something so new, it was a challenge, but it was something that I feel I learned a lot from and thoroughly enjoyed as a whole. I personally really enjoyed finding out about the progress of how diabetes has been treated. Our interviewees gave us a really good insight on how it was treated quite early on in its kind of discovery up until now, which I personally found very interesting.
So for me, the whole experience was absolutely wonderful, and there's no one particular highlight because the whole thing was just too good. I must say one of my favorite parts would be actually researching beforehand and then consolidating the information I found through speaking to the guests. And I found that it was really fun to create links between the stuff that we were learning in school and the things that they were being said. And it really opened my mind as to the practical applications of things that we've learned before. And also the whole experience of hosting a podcast, as I mentioned before, it was just great.
I would take this chance to thank the interviewees first, because I actually did, I did do a bit prior research, but many of my times I tripped on stuff. I didn't understand, but the interviewees were so patient with me and they made me understand. And I think that's the highlight of the episodes, is the fact that if you're an A-level student, you're not bound to know all the processes, or even if you want to talk to like the interviewees, you're not going to know as much as they know, obviously. So I think the highlight of this is the fact that they were explaining to me as how they would explain to a normal A-level student. Which just makes the whole big concepts very, very easy. Because when I was researching for them, it just made no sense, though the articles were very clear. And then when I got to the podcast and they actually did explain it to me, it made much more sense. And I think my favorite parts was one of it was about PTB1B protein, because a week before the podcast, I was just I didn't get what PTB1B was, and I was so what can I say? I was just so stressed out because I had a podcast next day and I didn't know what to ask if I didn't know the meaning of a PTB1B protein. But Dr. Don Thompson was really, really nice, and so as the other ones, Dr. John Barrow and the others. They were so nice, and they I also mispronounced metformin in the episode. So yeah, I think it was really, really interactive and really, really fun for me.
Oh, great. I'm so glad you enjoyed that and you did such an exceptional job as well. I can imagine that it must be quite intimidating to host a podcast about such a specific topic and interview people as well. So that is just incredible. You made it look easy, to be honest. You were so natural and an absolute joy to listen to. Do you have any advice for students who are thinking about hosting future episodes of the TechFest Talks podcast?
Yeah, so I had never done anything like this before, as I kind of mentioned, which meant when I initially got the email, I was interested, but it was slightly daunting and a bit nerve-wracking. However, the team at TechFest were such a great support in preparing me for the podcast. And I think if you get the opportunity, despite it being maybe slightly daunting, I would definitely recommend saying yes, as I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I would describe it as a valuable experience, as I learned a lot as a STEM student.
So if you're thinking about applying to become a host and taking up the opportunity, I would say 100% go for it, because it's a really relaxed atmosphere. And even if you make mistakes, it doesn't matter. And you're learning as you do it. And there's no pressure on you whatsoever. And just the whole experience of researching and speaking to professionals about things that you're passionate about, it really helps reinforce your learning. So just go for it. You won't regret it, and it's not as nerve-wracking as it seems.
I would just say just don't have a second thought about this, because this is one of the best experiences that I had. So I'd just say just don't have second thoughts, because I did feel a bit intimidated, because I always considered myself not to be a very smart person. So I was like, will I be able to talk to all these researchers who have done PhDs on their subjects? But it's okay, because everyone who's going to listen to this are obviously normal students like you are. So it's completely fine. And I also think one of the best things about this was I was going on the bus the other day, and then one girl came up to me and she was like, aren't you the one who did those TechFest podcasts? I mean, you were hosting one of them. I was like, yeah. I never knew it was going to be that famous, but yeah, that was my experience with it.
That is such brilliant advice from all of you, and if there are any students listening to this at home and thinking that they would like the opportunity to try out being a podcast host, then we think you should go for it and get in touch with TechFest to see what they've got coming up. And just before we let these ladies go, I would love to know what your next steps are.
I'm currently sitting advanced hires in chemistry and biology and a higher in physics, and I'm in the process of working on my UCAS application. I'm applying to study pharmacy, and I hope to begin university in September next year.
So I would love to continue getting involved with TechFest projects and hopefully maybe continue hosting podcasts because it was just so much fun. And in the future, I was very inspired by speaking to the guests, and I'm really interested in research right now. So hopefully in the future, I can carry out some of my own research.
I went to the dreadful journey of applying to UCAS on the 15th of October, so that's over now. I've applied to unis to study medicine in England, and yes, so that's where I am. I'm currently in year 13 and I do biology, chemistry and maths as my A-levels.
Well, best of luck to all three of you, and I have no doubt we're going to be seeing all three of you in the future as well, because you're all incredible. Thank you so much for your time tonight. Once again, that was Holly, Arushi and Raga who did a phenomenal job hosting TechFest Talks. You can listen to TechFest Talks on any platform where you usually listen to podcasts, and if you want more information on this, just check out the TechFest website. That is everything from us tonight, and once again, I want to say a massive thank you to all the volunteers who gave up their time to be part of STEM Next. Thank you to our principal sponsor, Exodus, as well as our category sponsors, Worley and TechnipFMC, who made this project possible. And finally, a huge thank you to all of our incredible students who took part. You guys are real inspiration and you should be incredibly proud of yourselves. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, and don't forget, TechFest Digital Festival is running until the 1st of December and there are loads of fantastic online events. So if you haven't already checked out the festival programme on the TechFest website, just head to www.techfest.org.uk or follow us on social media to see what fantastic events we have coming up. Thank you so much.